Welcome to another edition of Len's Burning Bush. I am Len Harvey. Before I bring on my guest for the week, I want to talk about what's really burning my bush. Does anybody make plans anymore? Just a question out there. Are we always being spontaneous? I wonder sometimes why more advance notice is not given for invitation to events anymore. Now, we used to mail invites to parties, but now, of course, that's way too much work to do that anymore. So we have the ability now to text people on a regular basis. But my question is, what is acceptable when it comes to an invite? What is the time frame? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 1 week? Is it the day of? Am I being, hard on people? Is it, what is the real etiquette rather? So I figured I would look it up. So according to Emily Post, whether you're mailing invitations or inviting guests by phone or email or even text, timing is the key. Now, you send an invitation too late and the guest may already been booked. You send it too early, it may be misplaced or forgotten. So the timing is really important, and you should err on the early side if your event is important, or the guest list is going to be large. Like an anniversary party, 3 to 6 weeks is what they say. A bar and bat mitzvah is about a month. Casual party is the same day to 2 weeks, I guess, in that. So as a rule of thumb, the more formal the event, the longer the lead time should be. For example, wedding invitations should be mailed about 6 to 8 weeks ahead of time. People are doing those save the date kind of annoying things, and that's all there. Whereas a bar bat mitzvah, you do about 4 to 6 weeks ahead of time. Now, earliness is always encouraged, but what I'm trying to figure out, for a less formal invitation, maybe a dinner or going out with friends, what is the correct form? Getting a text at 5 o'clock on the night of saying, hey, you got time for dinner? I think that's a little much, It seems like fun for some. And of course, I'm weird, I guess, but there was a famous episode of Seinfeld that featured the pop-in, right? And now we're texting people. We don't just come over, but we will text people and say, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. You home? Well, the correct answer would be, didn't they know if they would be in the neighborhood sooner? Now the real answer would be, yes, I am home, but I don't have pants on. And it's 8 o'clock and I'm already in my jammies. So, this communication of texting can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. So can anybody plan anymore? I'm not asking you to plan 6 months in advance, 4 months in advance, but I like the calendar. I like to be able to, put stuff on my calendar, and I'm not always available. I'm sorry. I know people don't intentionally want to piss you off. I mean, they're just trying to invite you to places, which obviously is a good thing. But come on, no notice? Give me a little time. It just seems like a lack of regard for your time. Hey, I'm free and I expect you to be free as well. But can't you give me at least a day notice? At least a day. I mean, sometimes things just pop up. I understand that. But I'm not sure what the proper method is on all this. And I know I'm probably being very difficult like I usually am, but you text me at 5 o'clock and you want me to go out to dinner that night. It's a little tough for me to kind of make those type of plans. And I know I should be flexible. Again, I am being difficult like I usually am. With that being said, it's time to bring on my guest for the week. He is a longtime friend of mine from New Jersey. He has his own radio show called The Neighborhood Pub Party. Let me say that again, Pub Party with Rich Ott. Please welcome Rich Ott to Len's Burning Bush. Rich, it's been too long. How are you, brother?
I'm doing okay. I'm glad you're doing well as well. How's everything? Everything's good with you and the family. We were talking about that a little bit before, so that's great. And, yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, you have your own radio show, so you understand some of these things. But what I wanted to ask you is, am I being wrong? I lately I've been getting texts from people. Hey, we're going to dinner tonight. You want to join us? And again, I love the fact that I get invited to places. This is not about that. But what is the, expecting somebody at 5 o'clock to go to dinner at 7 o'clock is a little bit much, don't you think?
Well, I mean, the whole thing is if you're making the invitation, you go in with the idea that there's a very good chance the person's not going to make it. I mean, you can always say, hey, look, we're going out to dinner. Hey, it'd be great if so-and-so could come along. Let's ask them if they're free. Cool. If not, we're still going out to dinner.
Agreed.
Just it it's one of those things. It's one of those things. It's like, hey, if they can make it, great. If they can't, whatever. And like you said, it's nice to be asked that you're invited. It's like, so I mean, if as long as the person going in and offering the invitation has no expectation that you are, that you have to be there. I mean, it's like a matter of like, if they don't go, it doesn't matter. I'm going anyway. That's like if you decide to say, hey, I'm going to go to a movie. It's like, oh, let me call a couple people, see what they're doing. Nothing. It's like, well, I'm going to a movie anyway. I don't care. If concert tickets or sports tickets fall in your lap at the last minute, you call around, ask friends so you don't have to sit there by yourself at the same time. I'm going to see the show. It makes no difference to me. So, I mean, it depends on what the idea in the head of the person offering the invitation is. If they're bent out of shape because they call you last minute and you can't go, then that's on them. That has nothing to do with you.
No, I agree with you. And you brought up a very good point, and I shouldn't be upset about it because you're right. This was kind of in this example that I'm giving, it was exactly what you said. They were going to go anyway. They wanted me to join. It wasn't like a big deal. And I did wind up joining. Yeah. So, again, this is not even about that. I just want to know, like, as this started, we also got a text recently, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. You guys home? And it's like, I mean, I don't have pants on. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just, it's kind of that situation where I think with the texting, people just go take advantage a little bit. You know you're going to be in the neighborhood earlier. Like, I wouldn't do that. Like if I was coming to New Jersey, Rich, and we've done this before, right. We've met when I've been coming to New Jersey, I send you guys a note and say, hey, I'm going to be around on Wednesday night. Can you guys make dinner? I know I'm going to be in the area. I'm going to let you know in advance. And I think maybe I'm just a little bit different. I like to give people a little bit heads up, advance notice. It's kind of like me going to my meetings for work. I'm always 10 minutes early and everybody gives me crap. You're always early. And I like to be early. I like to know, what my schedule is going to be. So I think, that's just me.
Well, I mean, the whole texting thing, as I'm in the neighborhood now. It's like, well, look, I mean, if you're out and you're doing something, and you say, hey, so and so doesn't live too far away from here. I'm not outside your house. I'm like, well, let's see. Hey, you say, oh, hey, I was in the middle of downtown. I was doing some shopping. I know you're like maybe 15, 20 minutes away. Would it be cool if I stopped by? I mean, that's a simple thing. It's like, and like you said, if they're saying, well, no, I don't have any pants on, or no, we basically just ripped down the wall in the living room and we just are not in a position to receive guests. Or we just are demoed our bathroom. Would that be a problem for you? I mean, it's just, then they could say, oh, okay, cool. It's like, I'll catch you next time. But if they're sitting out, I'm parked outside your house right now, or I'm walking to the door as they're texting, you're like, yeah, okay, I'll tell you what, why don't you just turn right back around, get in your car and be on your way, my friend.
Again, I get it. I mean, people have different, I shouldn't expect, just like they shouldn't expect me to be home, I shouldn't expect to get that kind of advance notice. People are happy to see us, and they wanted to come over, and that's wonderful. Again, not a bad thing. I just made the comment, and I got into a little bit of a disagreement with my wife about this, but it was basically, I thought that if it was me, I would have given a little bit more of advance notice, even if it was the day of, not the minute of. Like in 10 minutes, I'll be at your door, right? And
I'm pulling your mail out of your mailbox and I'm bringing it up to you. Exactly. Will you answer the door, please? It's like, no, put it back in the mailbox. I like getting it myself. Now go away.
So again, just to clarify, I was happy to see people. I'm not the misery that I'm sounding like, or the old man on the lawn, even though I am. I just want to know, like, I like to know my schedule. Like, if I'm already kind of settled for the night, I don't want guests. Does that make sense? If you're settled for the night,
that makes absolute perfect sense. Unless it's somebody you wouldn't mind sharing a couch with under a blanket in your jammies. There's no reason to say, hey, come on in.
Yeah. It's and I don't think anybody wants to see me in my jammies. So that's kind of where we go. We just want to, but no, I think that it's great, again, to get invited. This is not about, hey, don't invite me to places. I like to be invited. And I think that it's just, why can't we just plan? Why can't we say, hey, 2 weeks from now, Rich, let's get together and let's do it. Let's send you a text. And that's what I do with some of my other friends. We get together for happy hour. So we plan one. And at the next happy hour, at the happy hour that night, we'll say, hey, 2 weeks from now, let's put it on our calendar. I mean,
Right.
I think that's better. For me, I like that better. But a lot of people are different.
Yeah.
And, I love all my friends, and I shouldn't bitch and moan about getting invited. I just wanted to know what the real etiquette was for invitations these days. But you brought up a very good point. You said, hey, it's kind of like the old days when we used to go to the movies and you get the phone call, hey, you want to go to the movies tonight? I got an extra ticket to the Ranger game or the Devil game. That would be a good thing. And so again, you've brought me in the right direction because I shouldn't be upset at getting invited, and it doesn't matter if it's last minute or not. So let's just chalk that up to, hey, at least you're getting invited, and shut your mouth, right? That's the way it goes.
Oh yeah, I have basically a list of people I run down that if I get something falls in my lap, like tickets for a concert or a play or or whatever. I basically have a list, and it's like, okay, let me ask this person first. If they can't go, then I'm on to number 2, and then I'm on to number 3. And then eventually, after you've done through 5 or 6, then you're like, okay, I guess I'm going by myself. But either way, but at least, and the thing is you're like, hey, it's like, I'm going anyway. And it's like, and depending on who you're going to see or what you're going to see, your list will, move, because you're like, oh, this person really likes this, or this person really likes that, so they move to the top of the list, and then everybody else shifts down accordingly.
Right.
So it's like, but yeah, that's one of those. Like I said, I used to have, I still do it when things happen, but I used to have like a running list of people. It's like, oh, it's like a baseball ticket, so I know who to call, or got a concert ticket, or tickets for a Broadway show. Yeah, I got that person. It's like, last minute. It's like. And it's like, and a lot of times it was fine. It's like, people could make it, but a lot of times they're just like, oh yeah, I got to go do something with my parents, or I've got to deal with this, or I can't get out of work. Hey, fine, not a problem. I'm still going, but I made the offer, and it's like, at least I feel good that I made the offer. They feel good that they've been asked. As you said, you like being asked.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, so, it's all good all around at that point.
All right, so I'm open season now. I guess I've come to the dark side, and I am good with somebody sending me a text at 5 o'clock to go to the dinner. I went anyway, so I bitch and moan about everything, but I just wanted to know that it's just kind of interesting. Now, I hate the fact, I will tell you this, I hate the fact that I'm so busy that I can't go to more things because I don't know about you, but one thing that I really don't like is when I have a weekend that is just packed with stuff to do. Like when you've got their whole calendar is booked on a Saturday, and then you have no time to do anything. It's just I don't know about you, but when I look at my calendar, I get exhausted because I do high school football. I've got that on Fridays, and then I get this. If you got something on Saturdays, you're like, oh my God, the whole weekend is just about you only have your Sunday. So I hate being that busy that everybody always says, well, you're the busiest man I know, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry, it's just the way it happens to be. But
the only thing is if you're doing the things that you really like to do. If your weekend is bogged down with like, okay, I got to do yard work, I have to go to the dentist, I have to get a haircut, stuff like that, and then it's like, oh man, then it's a real drag. But if you're doing the stuff you love, even if it is work, it's not so bad. It's not so bad then.
No, I would agree with you. So again, we figured this out. But how about did you see over the course of the week that William Shatner, obviously went to space? Did you see that with Bezos? And apparently he and his 3 crewmates of the Blue Origin's New Shepard, they returned to Earth. There was a big 11 minutes. All this for 11 minutes. Kind of interesting. But the thing that I took from this, which is kind of funny, is that William Shatner is still William Shatner right through this whole thing. He puts, I don't know if you saw it, but he had his jacket on, and he's got the little, I don't know if you saw the picture of him, but it said, "Suck it, Picard." I thought that was really, I thought that was brilliant. He's just sitting there. He talked about, he was overcome with emotion. Jeff Bezos said, he said it was so moving. This experience has been something unbelievable. He said, the blue down there, the black up here. So he was very appreciative. And at 90 years old, God bless him. If I'm 90, I want to go to space too. That would be pretty cool.
Well, that is pretty cool. I thought the interesting thing, like right off the bat, was when you look at, it's like, oh, there's Bill Shatner, and then you look at Blue Origin, you're like saying, okay, Captain James T. Kirk, the most notoriously horny man in Starfleet, going off into space in a rocket shaped like, well, you know what it's shaped like.
Exactly. We don't.
You're just like, if that's not type, I don't know what. And honestly, I think I would have cracked up if his words just before liftoff were like, okay, let's go bang some green chicks.
Yeah, I was just going to say
that would have been perfect. It's like, let's go bang some green chicks, boys.
I'll tell you, that's awesome, because I was just thinking about the green woman. It was like the Eddie Murphy thing. And look at him, he's screwing the green woman. But that's pretty much him. I mean, he's just, it's like Shatner. I brought this up last week on my show with Dave Lanahan. I thought that Bezos should get together with Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox and do a Back to the Future 2039, and it'd be like, we're going to space, Marty. We're all, we're going out there. We're back in space now. a new rocket ship that's basically a time. We're going to screw up the time continuum. I think that would be a good episode. There you go.
Oh, it would be fun. That would be fun indeed. Yes.
Yeah. Back to the Future.
It's funny. It's funny. I was just reading something that was posted by some fellow that I know from back in school, grade school, actually. And there was this, and he was posting something from another fellow that we know from grade school, high school, who is, its name's Dr. Adam Frank. He is an astrophysicist, and he was on CNN, and he was talking about Shatner going into space and how this was something that there's something just inspiring about James Kirk going into space, because it bodes well for our future, in that it's like, if you remember all the old Star Trek episodes, they were, it's like, this is the future. There, people of all colors, nationalities are all together, and space is part of our future, and the Earth is better off for it, and all that sort of thing. And he says, this is kind of one of those things where you say, yeah, people realize it's like, what, we got to do something about making the Earth a better place, in terms of both physically a better place, and then also spiritually a better place. And that's, it's one of those things that you see that happen. You see him going into space. It's kind of symbolic of all of that going forward. So I thought that was a interesting and take to have on it.
Yeah, and people criticize, like they criticize Bezos for doing this because it's so much money, and he could be using his money differently. You can't tell people how to use their money, especially, as I talked about last week, FU money. When you have FU money, you can do whatever you want. It's pretty much,
Well, my only problem with Bezos is, yes, he has FU money, but unfortunately, the FU is a lot of times towards the U.S. tax system. So, honestly, I wouldn't mind if he paid his fair share of taxes and then still went into space. That's great. My only issue is, hey, dude, pay your taxes and then let's go joyride.
Yeah,
you can go joyride wherever you want after that.
That's another story.
Let's put a little more into the coffer so everybody benefits.
Well, that's good. So you and I were having a conversation earlier about something that burns my bush, as well as it's burning your bush now. So I have Dish Network right now. And one of the things that I don't like, and you get involved with, it's not the company. It's like Dish, DirecTV. They all have Comcast. All of these companies have these things where, they get into arguments. And it's kind of like what I call pissing contests with providers, right? And who suffers in the end, right? We do as customers. So I live in the Cincinnati area. So I have Dish Network, and I cannot watch the Cincinnati Reds locally. And one of the things why I can is because the company is owned by Sinclair that covers the Reds games. It's the Bally Sports Channel, whatever it's called. Bally,
right.
Which it changed from Fox Sports Ohio to Bally, right? So the problem I have with all of this is that I pay for the MLB app, right? Well, actually, T-Mobile does, but that's another story. So the T-Mobile app allows me to watch Major League Baseball. But when I go to the Reds games, it says, sorry, it's blacked out because so I have no avenue to watch the games. And these companies get into pissing contests and the consumer who's paying the money doesn't get to see the games. Now you're experiencing the same thing now where you can't watch our beloved New Jersey Devils now. Is that true?
No, I can't. Well, not just the Devils. I can't watch the Devils, the Islanders, or the Rangers, or the Knicks. But I don't care about basketball, so that doesn't matter. But I've got 3 hockey teams. I can't watch one of them because Comcast decided that they're in a like you said, a pissing contest with Dolan over at MSG Networks, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, I think the NHL should step in because, whether people realize it or not, you can't have Comcast, who own the Flyers and Spectrum and the channel that the Flyers are broadcast on. And they're basically, by denying access to the MSG networks, they have taken revenues out of the pockets from 3 of their divisional competitors. And it's like, that's just wrong in so many ways. If honestly, if I was the NHL, if I was Gary Bettman, I'd say, you guys got to get this figured out now. And and it's not going to happen. Or what the NHL should do. And this is it. And I would think it would be very simple to do because they know what system you're on. If you get the center ice package, or if there's a game on the NHL network that is local, like last night, the Devils game was on the NHL network. They didn't show it on the NHL network. We got like the best 20 players right now from like 10 years ago. Right. So it isn't really right now, but it got blacked out on the NHL. What they should do is they should say, hey, look, for people on these cable systems, because we know the games aren't being carried by their normal providers because they've dropped the channels. Well, you know what? On these cable systems, there are no blackouts.
Right.
There are no blackouts because, hey, these people, how can we expect people to say, because we can't watch these things that we want to watch, these hockey games, which is relatively a small portion of the amount of TV they watch. How can we say it's like, well, guess what? It's your fault that you didn't drop your cable company or your satellite company and sign up with another one that's carrying it, and therefore change your television, your internet, your telephone, and any other service that you already have provided through these other people. You have to now uproot all of that and move to another company because, hey, as a league, we really don't care about the inconvenience to you. We expect you to watch our games no matter what. Well, and I'd rather just say, no, I'm not going to watch the games.
No, I know that. And at the end, we all suffer because we can't watch the games.
Yeah.
Like, again, I would like to watch a few Reds games every once in a while. I mean, it would be nice, especially when I have the MLB app. But what I find interesting is if I go to the Bally's app, it says sign in with your provider. Well, there is no provider. I can't sign in, and I can't watch it even online. It's ridiculous. And you can't even pay like an extra fee to get it. I think if and this is a whole topic that I did an episode on earlier when we talked about existing customers should get the same deal. And this goes back, a friend of mine, we were having the same conversation that you and I are having in the sense of, you've got this company that you're with and you've been there for 2 years. Or for 10 years or 15 years or whatever the years are, and they've been screwing you and you want to get a better deal, and you say, hey, look, if a new customer or a new person moves into my house, they're going to get the good deal. Why can't I get that deal now? Like, I have to move to another company to get this deal so that I could watch the Devils, the Rangers, and whatever. And it's just ridiculous that Comcast has the right to do that. And you don't have a right as a customer to get these games and tell Comcast to piss off.
Well, actually, I'll tell you right now, I am willing to make a deal with Comcast. Here's what you could do for me. It's like I get the SEC channel, don't care. Big Ten channel, don't care. Tennis channel, don't care. Golf channel, don't care. NBA TV, as I said, not into basketball, don't care. Certain news networks and their business associates. Don't care and would rather they fall into the deep abyss. And I'd be like, all right, here are a half dozen to a dozen channels I don't care about. I will trade you for the MSG networks. I think there's a maximum of 3. If the Islanders, Rangers, and Devils are playing, different teams on the same night, it's like then they're on, the MSG 1 plus and plus, whatever it is. But I will trade you, a dozen other networks. Just bring back the MSG, and you can take the money that I would pay you for that and put it towards the cost of MSG.
I've always been a proponent of that.
Or what you could do is you could reduce the price of my package, because I am paying for a quote sports package. And I'll tell you what, you could give me back $25-$30, and that'll offset about half the cost I have to entail in order to use like some sort of streaming service that I have to pay $70 for. That gives me all these channels I don't want, but it also gives me the sports channels I need.
Right.
And so, so either way, you owe me something here, Comcast. You really do.
I think the biggest problem with all these services, and even the newer ones, even the streaming services, even the Slings and the Yahoo TV, YouTube TV and all these things, right? All of these could be summed up by what you just said. We get, for $50, you get 50 channels that you want to watch. And that would be a way to figure it out. But see, the problem with that, and the reason why Comcast is, taking off MSG, is not because they want to screw you, which I would believe they do, but that's another story for another day. But I think that the reason is, too, that MSG is trying to gather more money from Comcast, and Comcast is just saying, look, you're not getting this extra money for me, but we are basically having billionaires fighting with billionaires to take care of the average working person who wants to get this channel. And we suffer with this argument. It's like parents, and the kids suffer in the divorce, right? You've got these two big conglomerates arguing, and we can't watch our TV. Give me my TV.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it would be very simple if, like, in your case, Bally Sportsnet, or in my case, MSG, just said, hey, guess what? It's like, all right, we're going to be part of these cable systems. The day these cable systems decide, we don't want to carry you anymore. Oh, okay, that's fine. We have an app that you can put on your phone. You could put an app on your Roku TV or whatever smart TV you have. It's like, we have an app. You can sign up and just get us for an extra $7.50, $10 a month. You just pay for our app, and that's it. You don't have to pay $70 for a service that gives you, sports and entertainment and everything else. They don't offer you a sports package. That's fine. You just want to see us? Here you go.
Well, that's what
here's your app. But we will give it to you directly if these guys don't want to give it to you at all. And honestly, they're doing the games anyway. They're doing the productions anyway. All they have to do is send the feed to the app. It's the same thing as if they're sending it out to the cable company. It's really not a whole lot of heavy lifting for them.
No.
And you can say, all right, we're going to subscribe directly to you, and we'll stream your damn channel. It doesn't matter. It's like, it's like at that point you can say, yeah, okay, you got rid of them. That's fine. Reduce my cable bill because you're not carrying that anymore. And I'm going to just pick this up on my own. Thank you very much.
Well, it's kind of like what the NFL has done. I mean, they basically do that. The NFL basically has said, look, you're going to get your local games on. You're going to get the Jets, the Giants in your area, and I get the Bengals, whatever. You get those games, right. And if you want to watch your team, then you can pay for the NFL season ticket or whatever it is, the Sunday ticket, and you can watch the games. See, and there should be no blackouts in that case, but of course there is. How they work it. But getting back to that, you shouldn't have a blackout if you're not allowed to watch it on whatever system. So these companies like Comcast and Spectrum and all these other companies, they don't want you to go to Bally's and pay $7.95 because they want you to subscribe to theirs. So that's what they're doing here. They're stopping you from watching it on one end, and they don't want you to go somewhere else to watch it. It's kind of like that girl that you were dating. You don't like her anymore, but you don't want someone else to date her. That's kind of the way. Right. It's kind of that way.
Yeah, actually, I've been on the receiving end of that. It's like I've had girls that I've shown attention to and everything, and they didn't care about me. The minute somebody else showed some attention, then they get all pissy on you, and you're like, "What happened here? You said get out of here. You're not interested. What is this all of a sudden?" And then they're still not really interested. They just don't like the idea that you might be sharing attention with someone else.
Agreed. And
It's amazing.
With that being said, I have a story to tell you. So we were talking about parents arguing and ending up in divorce. Well, what happens? See, this is an interesting thing. When a woman gets divorced, right? What happens to the wedding dress, right? Do they keep the wedding dress? Do they get ticked off about the wedding dress? Well, I've got a story where there's a woman from Massachusetts. So listen to this. She took matters into her own hands. Her name is Chrissy Blake. She's from nutritionist from Massachusetts. She decided she had a $1,400 wedding gown. And this is why I always believe that we spend way too much money on weddings, and we could do a whole episode on this. Why people do, I don't know. But she had a $1,400 wedding gown. Now, she got divorced, and she just said, you know what? She set her wedding dress on fire. She put alcohol all over this dress, and she said, you know what? We're divorced. It was a divorce-themed photo shoot after she split with her ex-husband. She claimed that her husband cheated on her 6 times through the relationship in the 3-year marriage. So she decided to go with this. She saw other people. She took her children along for the shoot, and they dragged the dress through the mud and soaked it in wine before eventually burning the thing. Now, this woman, but again, this is what, they marriages, 60% of all marriages end in divorce. The other 40% think about it. And this woman is burning her. She got divorced, and now she decided, I don't need this wedding dress anymore. And she just burned it to the ground.
Well, I'll tell you what, if nothing else, it must be liberating at that point. It's like, we're exercising the demons. Thank you very much. And let's get out of here.
Yeah,
you can easily take it to a secondhand shop and say, here, it's $1,400 dress. Give me like $2.50 for $2.50, and it's yours. Sell it to somebody else. It's like, I wish him better luck than I had.
She would rather see it burn to the ground than someone else wear that dress too. That's another thing. Even though she didn't like the guy anymore, she didn't want somebody else to wear that dress because it was tainted the fact that they got divorced. That's kind of how that works. But speaking of,
you got bad juju there, man. Yeah, you just want to stay away from. You just want to stay away from that bad karma and that thing. You just don't wish that on anybody else, really.
No, we don't want bad juju. Now, speaking of non-bad juju, is your radio show, the neighborhood. I can't even say it. The neighborhood pub party. I have to stop with the P, the popper stopper. But can you give me, let's see how people can listen to it. It's a good show, and people should be tuning in. How can we consume this wonderful show, Rich?
Okay, well, Neighborhood Pub Party with Rich O is on WSRX LP in Vernon, New Jersey, and that is basically a low power community radio station in Vernon, New Jersey. And if you're in the Vernon area, going through Traction Park or anywhere up there, then you can listen to over the airwaves on 107.9 FM. Or what you can do is you can hop on to vernonfm.org and stream it through your computer. Or you can hop on the TuneIn app. Not the TuneIn app. I'm sorry, My Tuner app. TuneIn doesn't carry it for some reason, and we've asked them to. But the My Tuner app. And you can find us there as well. So it's WSRX in Vernon, New Jersey. Now, my show is on Monday nights at 7 p.m. and then we replay it again at 4 p.m. on Thursdays. And it's basically if you've ever listened to the Underground Garage, it's like that's kind of our inspiration. We try to mix in garage rock and power pop and R&B and soul and just a whole lot of good stuff. As a matter of fact, I can give you a recent playlist. Let me just give you a few things from a recent playlist here. We got Rolling Stones, Hot Stuff, Curtis Mayfield, Move On Up, B.B. Buell and the B-sides, Windy Words. Let's see, Grand Funk Railroad, We're an American Band, Laverne Baker, CC Ryder, Kurt Baker, Keep It Tight, King Khan with Lost in Love, just all kinds of good stuff that you mix it together and it's a whole lot of fun. And the idea is it's neighborhood. It's the kind of if you're going to your neighborhood corner bar and it's, basically a DJ spinning tunes for you. And it's one of those things. It's like, it's something, if you want to dance, you dance. If you just want something cool to listen to, that's what we try to do,
Well, I will put it in the link in this episode, so we'll have it. We'll have it all there. So make sure you listen. You can also like Lens Burning Bush on Facebook at Lens Burning Bush. You can follow at Lens Burning Bush on Twitter. The YouTube channel also is up, Lenny L 1015, and you can hear all these episodes on YouTube, not the video, just the audio portion. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, iHeartRadio. Tune in. You can even ask Alexa to play Lens Burning Bush. Make sure you say Lens Burning Bush podcast, though, because I don't know what comes up the other way. But we're on Pandora, Stitcher, and all these other places where you can consume all of it. And we've got some countries are listening to Lens Burning Bush as well. So it's all over the place. We don't know. It's kind of I just keep doing it. This is episode 80, Rich. And thank you so much for being a guest here. I really appreciate it. We'll have you on again because we could keep telling stories, hockey stories, every story. It's always good. It's always good. And when I'm back in New Jersey, I will text you an hour before we're going to go out, and I will send you the text, say, I'm in the neighborhood. Are you home? And you'll go.
There you go. It sounds good to me.
Yeah, and you'll go, new phone, who dis, right? That's what you're going to do. New phone, who dis. Well, thanks to Rich Ott. I'm Len Harvey. We'll be back with another episode of Lens Burning Bush next week. So long.